Dear Jordan of Spirit Science, I've had a chance to watch most of the content on your main channel, The Spirit Science, and a little of your vlog and website. I've got a few comments to offer, and a challenge for you. I want to start on a positive note. I really admire your ability to create engaging videos with well-animated and unique visuals, sharp script writing, and even careful narration. The production values are pretty impressive for a single YouTuber to achieve. As someone who struggles to make smooth, professional videos, I can see the work that went into them. I also want to start by saying that I don't see much need to address your mistakes. Unlike the creationists and religious fundamentalists, you aren't going to interfere in the educational system or in social issues in a negative way. The harm you do is mostly confined to people who are already believing in New Age mysticism anyway. I always have concerns when people start making medical claims or selling products to the credulous, but you're hardly a major offender even in the New Age movement. So why am I bothering to make a video response to you at all? One is the fact that I can see that you value discussion and challenge. You want to understand the world we live in, and you're doing your best to determine what is true. In short, I think you're a truth seeker, and I admire that. I have a challenge for you at the end of this video that I would love to see you respond to. 2 is your use of the terminology and name of science. What you're doing isn't science, and it isn't scientific, and you aren't even touching on the scientific method, and I want to challenge you on that too. Jordan, I'm about to offer a pretty nasty insult, the meanest that a scientist can offer another, and I hope you'll take it in a constructive way. Jordan, you aren't even wrong. Not even wrong is a phrase attributed to Wolfgang Pauli, the famous Nobel Prize-winning quantum physicist, and someone who has been much abused by the New Age movement. He used not even wrong to describe the ideas of students that couldn't be tested empirically. In a group of truth seekers, of physicists, these were the questions that not only didn't lead to anything productive, they didn't even advance knowledge in a negative way. Let's give an example. Take 2 statements. Statement 1, all swans are white. And statement 2, swans are personifications of 8th dimensional beings made of pure love. Now, I can test statement 1 by observation. I can falsify statement 1, prove that it is an incorrect prediction, simply by finding a non-white swan. And in doing so, I will have learned something useful about the world. Statement 2 is an unfalsifiable claim. It doesn't make any predictions. There's nothing specific about 8th dimensional beings or their composition that exposes the assertion to being falsified, proven wrong. It's an assertion without risk, and as such, it's not even wrong. It's not even as useful as a failed but testable prediction. When I listen to your videos about sacred geometry, or about the mind as a receiver of external signals, it strikes me that you aren't really seeking truth or useful predictions. You're asserting things that aren't even wrong. You might or might not be familiar with the work of Karl Popper, the philosopher of science. He made the connection that ideas, at least in science, are only as useful relative to how risky a prediction they make, how much they expose themselves to falsification. For example, Einstein made some quite spectacularly risky predictions in his theories of relativity. Things like time and space dilation, gravitational lensing, and the constant speed of light. Any of these being falsified by experimental observation would have toppled the entire theory. Darwin made risky predictions in his theory of evolution that had implications for all of geology, biology, and the age of the Earth. The fact that we still haven't found a fossil of a mammal in the Precambrian rock shows that this risky prediction has failed to be falsified. When I watched your video about DNA activation, something I know a lot about, I thought you might accidentally stumble into a risky, testable prediction, something that exposed itself to being wrong. Your use of language, though, and technical terms are used in a way that never quite reflects the history of the field they were borrowed from. You keep referencing other strands of DNA, which at first I got excited about. Maybe we could expose that idea to falsification together. But then you started in on higher frequencies and dimensions, and it became clear that you weren't talking about a physically existent extra strand. I pictured the experiment all lined up and clearly falsifying the idea. And then the New Age ad hoc excuses about Western science and materialism come in. So here's my challenge to you, Jordan. If you are truly a truth seeker, work with me to find a hypothesis that makes a risky prediction which can be tested in a controlled environment and exposes that idea to proper falsification. I have to admit that listening to your videos is a bit like nails on a chalkboard to me, because you misuse so many technical terms and assert so much without any evidence. I'm not alone in that. If you really want to reach out to the rational community, the skeptics and the scientists, I'm giving you a real chance here to be the first New Age YouTuber to roll your sleeves up and actually advance knowledge, even if only by producing negative outcomes from your predictions. It's a scary thing, exposing your ideas to testing and criticism. I think you're bright enough and bold enough to do just that. Thanks for watching.
Every cell of each plant and animal contains genetic information coded onto the DNA molecule. The model